Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are in the world today. Welcome to the 40th Emerging Growth Conference. I'm Anna Berry. I'll be your host today. As always, we have an exciting list of companies in a wide range of growth sectors presenting today. So during each company's presentation, you can submit questions through our webcast module, and the presenters will attempt to address as many of these as possible at the end of their presentation. So just a few notes. Today, we're running until about 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time. And when we switch to the next company, there might be a black screen for a second. Don't go anywhere. It's just us moving over. But if you do experience downtime for more than a minute or two, you have to refresh your browser. Our platform does work best on Google Chrome. So if you're watching from an Apple device, you have to hit the play button to start the session. Remember, all of our conferences, they're uploaded to the Emerging Growth Conference YouTube channel. So please subscribe, youtube.com/Emerging Growth Conference. And after today's event, you'll be redirected to the registration page for our next conference in 2 weeks. So please stay on or come back to reserve your spot early. Today, we have 7 companies presenting. So without further ado, I will introduce our first. Please welcome Pressure Biosciences, Inc. It trades on the OTCQB under the symbol PBIO and is a leader in the development and sale of innovative, broadly enabling pressure-based solutions for the worldwide life sciences and other industries. Please welcome its president and CEO, Richard Schumacher. Welcome back, Richard. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, Anna, and I appreciate the opportunity to come back and talk with your many listeners.
Good. We look forward to hearing your presentation as well as your updates. Take it away.
Wonderful. So as a publicly traded company, as Anna mentioned, we're traded on the OTCQB under the symbol PBIO. It is best for everyone to do their homework before thinking about investing in our company or actually any publicly traded company. The company is, as Anna mentioned, a manufacturer of equipment. One thing that all of our equipment has in common is that it's based upon the use of controlled, very high pressure. Pressure is an absolutely amazing force of nature. Pressure can be used to control many molecules. It can be used for many of the things that we use temperature and pressure for in the laboratory. As a scientist for the last 45 years, I was taught many, many years ago when I first started out in virology that the way to open up cells, the way to open up viruses and bacteria is to use very physical means to break them open or acids or other methods to break them open. These do work, but they end up changing sometimes the molecules that you're trying to get out, those amazing molecules out of cells, the DNA, RNA, protein, lipids. Pressure can do many of these things, but moving at the speed of sound, it's almost instantaneous. It can be completely controlled, exquisitely controlled. When you know a certain cell, a certain virus or bacteria opens up, breaks open and releases its macromolecules at 10, 20, 30,000 PSI, you can dial it in, use that pressure, and everyone around the world using equipment that's based upon pressure can dial that same pressure in and get the same type of results, not the type of results that you may get by using different temperatures or physical means. So we've been enamored with the use of pressure for a number of years. We have 30 issued patents in the area of pressure. I'm going to talk about 3 technologies, but I'm really only going to talk about one major technology. We're very excited today. We've been excited for the last few months because we're about to commercially release a program, a technology that we've been working on for over 6 years that we think will change a lot of things in the world. We're very excited about this, and we're very excited about the fact that our launch is going to happen in a matter of weeks. It's going to happen in the 4th quarter, which starts just next week of 2022. So when you look at pressure and you look at the different levels of pressure, you can see on this slide, you know, our cars have pressures of 35, 36 pounds per square inch or PSI in the tires. A vise might be around 500 PSI. But when you look at very, very high pressures, you go to the Marianas Trench, the deepest part of the ocean in the world, and you're down with almost 7 miles of water on top of you. That's 16,500 pounds per square inch. Very, very high pressure. We have an instrument called the Barocycler, PCT Barocycler, the 2320 EXT. It goes to 45,000, but it's very safe because we're controlling the pressure. We're squeezing water. We're pressurizing water. Water barely compresses when it's pressurized. So if we pressurize water to 16,500 or to 45,000, it's only going to be compressed very slightly. So if something happens, it's not going to blow up. The pressure is going to be released through a safety port in the instrument. We have a new instrument called the Baro Shear. You can see on the right of the slide. And this is used for our new technology called Ultra Shear technology, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. But it gives you an idea of the types of pressures that we're dealing with. We're dealing with very controlled pressures, and we're making instruments that use this controlled pressure to break open cells, to speed up and slow down reactions. And as you're going to see with Ultra Shear technology, to do a number of things that are very difficult. In fact, in some cases, impossible to do without pressure at the moment. Our customers of these instruments are pharmaceutical companies, nutraceutical, cosmetics, food and beverage, agrochemical companies around the world. We have hundreds of customers around the world that are using our technology. Most of them are using our pressure cycling PCT technology, or they're using our second technology platform, BaroFold. Some of them are going to start using our third technology that we're releasing in the fourth quarter, as I say, just next week, and that is called Ultra Shear technology. So here are the three technologies I mentioned: 30 issued patents. 15 patents are in pressure cycling technology, where we have an instrument that turns pressure on and off. It basically squeezes. The major use of this is in pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, and biotech companies from around the world. We have a wonderful list of customers that have been with us for 2 or 3 years and 15 years. And they use this instrument many times to break open cells, to extract DNA, RNA, protein, lipids, to try to come up with new programs, new drugs, new preventive strategies that are coming from understanding the molecules that are coming out of cells. We also have a technology with 8 issued patents called BaroFold, where we use pressure to control making a protein-based drug. Many drugs out there today are protein-based. In fact, about 40% of all new drugs are going to be protein-based in the coming years. They have a lot of advantages over chemical-based drugs, and we have a way of helping manufacturers get to market with their protein-based drugs. When they run into issues, pressure can help them get past those issues, and we have a number of multi-billion-dollar and startup, all the way down to startup companies in the BaroFold field. But those 23 patents are terrific, but we're not going to talk about pressure cycling. We're not going to talk about BaroFold today. What we're going to talk about today is something that's extremely exciting to myself and to my team, and to those customers and potential customers that we have that have been let in on the so-called secrets of Ultra Shear technology, and have seen the amazing power of Ultra Shear technology, because this is a technology with 7 issued patents that we're beginning to understand and develop products around, and we will be releasing this technology in the fourth quarter, starting in October of 2022. So Ultra Shear technology, basically, what we're going to talk about is using Ultra Shear technology to make what we call nano emulsions, and we're going to talk about how important nano emulsions can be in so many areas in the very near future. So the first thing we need to do is talk about emulsions. What's an emulsion? An emulsion is when we mix two or more things that don't really go together. The best example I can give is oil and water. Oil and water is an emulsion. Oil and water don't mix. When you put them together and you stir them up and you try to homogenize them, they settle out and you see 2 layers. There are so many emulsions in this world of ours. We deal with emulsions every day. We deal with emulsions in food and in beverages. We deal with emulsions in pharmaceuticals. You get the pharmaceutical, and on the box it says shake well before using. It's because it's an emulsion and it's separating out into its different components. Milk is an emulsion. You let it sit on the on the kitchen counter, and it's going to separate out into its different components. So many emulsions that we deal with in the world. There are emulsions in pharmaceuticals. There are emulsions in health and wellness products. There are emulsions in cosmetics. Most cosmetics are made up of emulsions, agrochemicals, and food and beverage, as I mentioned. So the problem is that when you make an emulsion, most emulsions that we have are not that stable. They separate out. They don't have a long-term stability in them, and they don't have very good bioavailability. What does that mean? Emulsions may contain an active ingredient. In fact, in the pharmaceutical and in the nutraceutical area, vitamins, supplements, these are all emulsions, oil and water emulsions, and the oil contains the active ingredient. And if you're not able to absorb the active ingredient out of that oil before our body excretes the oil, that does us no good. And so we have to find a way that we can make the oil and water emulsions, the emulsions that have oil-containing active ingredients that are important to us. We have to find a way to be able to absorb out that active ingredient before our water-based body says, I don't want this oil, I'm going to excrete the oil out. And the way to do that has been shown over and over again to make a nano emulsion. So what exactly is a nano emulsion? We know that most of the emulsions we make today, we call macro and micro. We know that nano, we hear that word all the time. Nano means very, very small. So when we're making nano emulsions, it means we're breaking the oil down to a nano level, very, very small level. When that oil is broken from an oil glob back down into many millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of nano-sized droplets of oil, we're spreading the active ingredient among all those hundreds of millions of droplets of oil. And when we do that, we know that the body has a better chance of absorbing out the active ingredient from the oil when it's that small. And so there's some very big benefits of having a nano emulsion. First of all, when you break the oil, when you put oil in water and then you homogenize it with an instrument and you break the oil into nano-sized droplets, into these millions, tens, hundreds of millions of nano-sized droplets, the oil and water mixture has high water solubility. It can effectively go into water and therefore be transmitted throughout the body. It's got exceptional bioavailability, which means that with the surface area having all of these tens of millions, hundreds of millions of oil droplets, the body's able to very quickly reach in and pull the active ingredient out of the oil before the body excretes the oil. We get very long-term stability from nano emulsions. Being a nano emulsion allows this material to be stable for months, if not years on end. And one of the true signs of a nano emulsion is that the emulsion becomes transparent, becomes what we call translucent. There are multiple ways that we make emulsions. When we make emulsions for food, for beverage, for pharmaceuticals, most of these make what we call macro or micro emulsions, that oil droplets are not nano-sized. They're not that small. We've developed a method. We've developed an instrument. We've gotten 7 issued patents to make emulsions down to the nano level, to capture all the benefits that the nano emulsions have, with high water solubility, with long stability, and with excellent bioavailability. Imagine having an emulsion, a pain reliever, that the active ingredient is in the oil, and you only get 10 or 20% of the active ingredient out. It's not going to help you. Or imagine a supplement, imagine a vitamin D3, or a nutraceutical like CBD, where you're only getting 5 or 10 or 20% of that active ingredient out. It's not going to give you the benefit that you're going to get if you're able to get 70, 80, 90% or even more of that active ingredient out of the oil. And the way to do that is to turn the emulsion into a nano emulsion, break the oil down to the nano level so that there are hundreds of millions of oil droplets that are in that solution, so that the body's able to reach in and pull the active ingredient out very quickly, very efficiently. So Ultra Shear technology that we have combines ultra high pressures, and we are experts in using high pressure. We've talked about that just a few minutes ago. We combine it with intense shearing forces or cutting forces, and it produces very highly stable, water-soluble, bioavailable oil and water nano emulsions. With our instrument, you can actually dial in. You know the number of times that you pass the emulsion through our instrument will give you a lower and lower or smaller and smaller sizes of the oil droplet. So you can actually say, I want to go down to 200 nanometers or 100 nanometers or 50 nanometers. You know roughly how many times you have to go through our machine to get down to that size. We have 7 issued patents, and this is very important because several of these patents are important, like this one. This is on our valve. Imagine valves. Valves have been around for centuries, and yet we got an issued patent on this valve in the US just last year. It's very novel, very different. It does not clog. One of the biggest problems with emulsions and instruments that are making emulsions is that tiny little pore that the material goes through, that orifice, clogs up. And we hear all the stories all the time about having to stop in the middle of a manufacturing run and then to open up the orifice, clean it out, put it all back together, certify it, and start the run again. In our case, it's not going to clog. We've developed a valve that is self-cleaning in terms of the anything that might clog up the orifice. And this is a cartoon of what it shows. But basically, when it starts to clog, it opens up the orifice a little bit more, allows the material to go through, and the next time around the machine, it will shear it. And so it's a very, very important part of our nanoemulsion technology. It's something that is patented in the US. It is going to be patented soon in Europe. It's patented throughout many countries in Asia. We're very excited about it. I'm not going to go through a lot of data, but I think what's important is to show what is happening when things go through our ultra shear technology machine, which we call the Baro Shear. There's 4 graphs here, one for pharmaceutical, one for cosmetics, one for nutraceutical, and one for agrochemical. The 2 important things here are the blue lines and the red lines. The blue line shows how much smaller the oil goes after it goes through a complete cycle in our machine. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 cycles in the upper left. Each time it goes through the cycle, the oil is sheared smaller and smaller. We're shearing the oil, the glob of oil, the eyedropper full of oil, into hundreds of millions of oil droplets, and we're spreading the active ingredient among all these hundreds of millions of tiny little nano-sized oil droplets. The red line shows the translucence or the transmittance. How clear is the material? So as we go down, every time we go through our instrument, and the instrument goes to high pressure and then shears the material through that patented valve, you can see that the material gets clearer and clearer. So we start, you know what happens when you mix oil and water, it gets opaque. We start with that material, and after we do 2, 4, 6, 8 runs, the material becomes very clear because the oil droplets are so small, they no longer block light. Light goes right through them. They don't reflect light. And so the nanoemulsion becomes very clear. And you can see it by looking at the red on the transmittance. It goes from partly visible to where it's very opaque to where you can see right through it. So with the pharmaceutical prednisone, we took prednisone, which is a drug that's in oil, and we broke the oil down and spread the prednisone among these hundreds of millions of oil droplets, and the material got clearer and clearer. Again, we're trying to reach a nanoemulsion where the nano size oil droplets are available and therefore become much more stable, become effectively water soluble, and become much more bioavailable. You'll get more of the prednisone out of the nanoemulsion that you see after 8, 10, or even 12 cycles through our machine. Over to the right, you see curcumin, a supplement that's used by a lot of people nowadays. We've taken curcumin and we have, looking at the blue line going down, we've reduced it from 250 nanometers in this case down to under 50 nanometers. So it's very small. It is a nano emulsion. It goes into solution and it stays in solution for a long period of time. It also becomes very clear. So the smaller the oil droplets, the clearer the solution. Bottom left, retinol is a compound that's used in almost all cosmetics. Most cosmetics have retinol to some extent. We've nano emulsified retinol in 10 to 12 cycles on our instrument. And we've also done agrochemical, in this case, neem oil. We've taken neem oil and we've broken neem oil down to where it's under 20 nanometers. Then it becomes very clear. So these are all nano emulsions. They're going to be very, very stable for long periods of time. They're not going to separate out. They're going to become very effectively water soluble, so they can go in water and be transported throughout the system of the plant or the animal, and they're going to become much more bioavailable. This is astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is a molecule that comes out of the krill and algae. It's what gives salmon its pink color, and you can see that on the left side, pre-ultra shear technology processing. You can see how astaxanthin separated into the oil up top, floating up top, and the water below. Post processing with ultra shear technology, you can see how clear it's become. And at this point on the right, all the way on the right, you can see we did about 14 cycles. So with 14 cycles, we've taken this very powerful antioxidant. Some people, in fact, many people say it's the most powerful antioxidant on Earth today. It's 6,000 times, I read recently, more powerful than vitamin C as an antioxidant. And we've nano emulsified it so that it's down to about 50, the oil droplets are down to about 50 nanometers. The bioavailability goes up tremendously so that the body's able to absorb the astaxanthin very quickly, very efficiently out of the oil droplets. The next one is CBD. You can see that CBD is a supplement, a nutraceutical that a lot of people are using today. A lot of people have said it has a number of wonderful benefits to them. It might be helping them sleep, might be helping them with their appetite, might be with PTSD, it might be with pain. It might be a lot of people have a lot of different things to say anecdotally about CBD. We nano-emulsified CBD, as you can see. The important thing here is that on the left graph, you can see that we took it from 250, the size of the oil droplets that contain the CBD, 250 nanometers down to about 50 nanometers. And on the right side, you can see that it's become very clear. And this is a sure sign of a nanoemulsion. Why are we doing this again? To make the CBD in this case, or the additive, more bioavailable. Here is side by side. On the left side is the conventional process. Again, people have been making emulsions for generations, but most of these emulsions are not nano emulsions. It's very difficult to make a true nano emulsion. So on the left side, the oil has been, the CBD containing, or the oil containing CBD has been broken up into tiny little droplets of oil, but you can see how opaque it looks. That same material was put through our instrument, our Shear instrument, and we nano emulsified it. We broke those droplets of oil down to nano size, and you can see it becomes very clear. You can see right through it. And once that happens, we know that material on the right is going to be far more bioavailable, far more effectively water soluble, and far more stable. It's going to have a number of benefits that the solution on the left does not have by putting it through our instrument. And all the way to the right, you can see that we have taken that material. It's changed a little bit in its shade, but it's still a nano emulsion. It's still very clear, and it's on day 730. And that was several months ago. So we've gotten nearly 2 years of stability, over 2 years of stability with our nano emulsions. You could never get that anything close to that. You get days of stability when you're talking about macro and micro emulsions. And of course, they separate sometimes within seconds, minutes, or hours. Here's a longitudinal study of looking at CBD and how it clarifies over the number of cycles. So on the left, it's pre-UST. You can see the oil floating on top. And on the right, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passes through our machine, and then we've graphed it on the right. So we've taken it from about 140 nanometers, the oil droplets, down to about 30 nanometer size. And in doing so, it's become very clear. And you can see this by looking at these different vials. On the left, the oil and water have separated. And then on the first vial number one, you can see we mixed it up hard, and it's just an opaque mixture. But as we put it through the machine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cycles, when you get to the 5th and 6th cycles, you can actually see through it. And we know we have a nano emulsion. It's going to look like that for months, if not years to come. It's going to be much more bioavailable. It's going to be much more effectively water soluble by being a true nano emulsion. This is what happens when you put a true nano emulsion and a true nano emulsion into water. We've purchased a number of so-called nano emulsions of CBD from the market, and when we in the top 4 pictures are typical of what we see. We take the water-soluble, highly bioavailable so-called nano emulsion, we add it to water, and it just turns back into an opaque mixture because it's not a true nano emulsion. On the bottom, you can see what happens when we put our nano emulsion into water. It mixes with water, and it disappears in the water. We've done, to summarize, we've done CBD, THC, astaxanthin, curcumin, retinol, neem oil, algae oil, and prednisone. So we've done agrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, supplements, nutraceuticals, cosmetics. We've been able to nano-emulsify using our patented instrument, nano-emulsify the oil and water mixtures with the oil containing that active ingredient. So far, we haven't found anything yet, any material that is found in an oil where we couldn't nano-emulsify that oil. We've only done 6 or 7, but we've been successful in all those. We believe our system is going to be successful in pretty much anything that is oil, any oil that contains an active ingredient. We should be able to break that oil down to billions, millions, hundreds of millions of oil particles, and to make it into a nano-emulsion. So recent news, just yesterday, we put out a press release that at a meeting earlier in September, the Conference on Food Engineering, our colleagues, our partners at Ohio State University presented 2 papers, one on the applications of ultra shear technology and one on cleaning, the ability to clean in place, or CIP, the instrument. Very important if you want to commercialize an instrument that's going to be used especially in the food or the pharmaceutical or the nutraceutical industry. You need to be able to clean in place. And they presented on a very effective procedure they developed for cleaning in place, and also on applications, in particular, using the system to help them put pea proteins into dairy drinks. So certainly plant protein-based drinks have become very, very hot at the moment, and they use ultra shear technology to help them extract and nanosize the protein drink in a dairy formula with pea protein. I presented just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, at the H.C. Wainwright, and I talked about the business strategy that we're pivoting, and that's what I want to talk about for the last 10 or 12 minutes of my talk, is the pivot that we've taken. We have put out press releases over the last 6 months, 8 months, about the success we've had with our BaroShear instrument in nano-emulsifying a number of things. Our low-hanging fruit is most likely right now in the CBD area, because there's a big problem in the CBD area, as there is in any area where you're doing an emulsion. And the problem is that the material that's being used is not a nano emulsion, and therefore the bioavailability is not where it should be. How good is it if we're taking a pain reliever, whatever it is, of 250 milligrams, and we only get 25 milligrams of the pain reliever out? It's not going to help us. This is the same thing, whether it's astaxanthin, vitamin D3, CBD. If we're not getting 100% of the active ingredient out, it's not helping us. It's not giving us the benefit that it should. Nano emulsions will get you closer to the 100%. Current emulsions are closer to 10 and 20% at best. So we've had a number of press releases recently about the success we've had with nano emulsions. So we're pivoting our business strategy. We have 350 PCT instruments around the world with 250 customers. We have several multi-billion-dollar barrel-fold customers where we're helping them get to market with their protein drugs. We're still going to support our customers. We're still going to support those areas, but we're putting 90 to 95% of our effort into UltraShear technology, because that is what is going to bring tremendous revenue to this company. That is what's going to bring us to be cash flow positive and profitable, we believe, before the end of 2023. Using UltraShear technology to make nano emulsions for people that are making drugs, pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, agrochemicals, especially food and beverage and cosmetics. So we've signed 3 contracts for CBD that begin next month, month of October, where we're going to be processing using UST CBD into nano emulsions for these 3 companies. They understand that making their products, whether it's a gummy, whether it's something that's going into food, whatever it is, they know it has to be a nano emulsion. And so we've signed 3 contracts with these companies. We believe that's going to generate over $250,000 just in the fourth quarter in UST as we do our pilot runs. And we believe that those 3 contracts will generate over $4 million for us next year. We will be basically setting up a tolling site here in Boston. We are receiving the material from our customers. We're nano emulsifying it. We're sending them back liters of nano emulsified CBD. They will then send it to their bottler, their labeler. They'll put their label on it. They'll sell it, and we'll share in the revenue that comes from that. We are also working with plant-based reagents so that our nano emulsified material is all plant-based. Everything that's in our CBD nano emulsion is plant-based. We also believe that in addition to the $4 million that we will generate next year, we're going to add additional contracts. We think we can sign up to 6 new contracts before the end of 2022. We think each contract could generate about $1 million in revenue for Pressure Biosciences. We have 3 CBD contracts now. We're talking to a number of people. We think we'll have at least 6 more before the end of this year. So next year, if we're able to sign these 10 contracts, everybody can do the math. We think each contract could be worth as much as $1 million to us for next year. We also have signed a partnership with Dr. Adrienne Denese and her skin science company. She's an icon on QVC. She sold over $500 million of skin care products over 20 years. She's one of the country's, if not the world's, experts in skincare. She's an MD, PhD who has made it her life's goal to develop products that can help change the lives of people, particularly women, with skincare. And she's done a tremendous job. But she, as an MD, PhD, she understands that there's a lot of oil-based molecules that are in her cosmetics. Their cosmetics, many of them are made up of emulsions. Many of them contain retinol, and that the material, in order for it to be absorbed better, needs to be nano-emulsified. So we signed a deal with her. We met with her yesterday, and we're working on 2 or 3 projects for 2023. This is Dr. Denese, and we've known her for 3 years. And what we appreciate about her is that she understands that the most important thing is to make her products so that they can penetrate the skin better, so they can do a better job. So the benefit is there. And she knows that a nano emulsion is the way to do that with these oil-based molecules, and quickly signed a deal with us when we sat down with her and said, let's work together on this. You're the expert in skincare. We're the experts in nano emulsions. And she agreed. So I want to end now by just thanking everybody for coming on and listening. This is a very exciting time for us. If you want to learn more about our other technologies, please go to our website, pressurebiosciences.com. But at the present time, we're taking care of our customers in PCT and Barrowfold. but 90% of our efforts, if not more, are directed towards the launch of Ultra Shear technology in October of 2022, which is, of course, just days away. Thank you. Anna, I'm open for questions if there are any.
Great. Thank you for that presentation, Richard, and congratulations on all those updates. Okay, yes, we have a question from Gary Zwetschgenbaum, CEO of Plumtree Consulting. He wants you to discuss in more detail PBIO, dramatic revenue increases you're projecting for 2023 and beyond. You indicated that there have been several recent contracts, announcements of $1 million plus in potential revenue, and that there could be several more contract announcements in the near future. So could Pressure Biosciences go from 2 million annual revenue to more than 10 million revenue in 2023?
Well, I'm not here to give guidance, but everybody can do the math. We firmly believe that the 3 contracts we signed in the CBD area are worth at least $1 million each. One of them is probably worth $2 million. 2 of the people that run these companies have come back to us to say that they think they're going to do more than what we are projecting, and that's always a good thing. So the answer is, it is time for this company to become cash flow positive. It's time for this company to become profitable. We have made a major shift, as I mentioned, a major shift in our business strategy. We are putting 90% or more of our efforts into Ultra Shear. We've proven the technology. We've proven that it works. And so the answer is yes. This is a company that we do not believe is going to be the same old Pressure Biosciences doing $2 or $2.5 million a year for next year at all. And we're going to prove that this year. We're going to prove it because we have scheduled the production of pilot runs that we're charging for of CBD material starting in October and starting to build in October. And we're very excited about this, Anna. So the answer is yes. I can't tell you what the company's gonna do next year. I can tell you that the contracts we're signing, we believe are worth at least $1 million a piece. We have 3 contracts in hand, and we think we can get 5, 6, 7 more before the end of the year. We could probably get more, but we need to grow in a very controlled fashion. We need to make sure that we can fulfill our responsibilities. So as much as I believe we could get 20 contracts over the next 3 months, we're going to hold it down to about 6 so that we can fulfill every contract next year.
Well, this must be a very exciting time for you and your team. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling, because this launch is a long time coming.
Well, if you can't tell, I'm excited. I'm very excited. As you know, Anna, and some of your listeners know, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started 4 companies before this. When I was at Harvard Medical School, I started a company for Harvard Medical, a for-profit company, to generate funds to help support the researchers there. I was a scientist there for 13 years. And then I started 3 companies, either founded or co-founded 3 companies. And I can tell you, as any entrepreneur can, that's developed successful companies. And my previous 3 companies reached a market cap combined of over $1 billion. And I can tell you there's 1 or 2 times during that time when you're developing the technology, when you're developing the company, where things are just coming together and you say, my gosh, I can taste it, I can feel it. And what a great feeling that is. It's a great feeling for the person, me as an entrepreneur, as a leader, but it's also a great feeling for all the people, the team that's worked so hard. And that's where we are now. I can taste it. I can feel it. We've worked extremely hard. My team has worked extremely hard to go to a place where no one's ever been before. A very solid, bioavailable, long-term stable, effectively water-soluble nano emulsion that's as good today as it was 2 years ago. We have that. We have the instrument. We have the patents. We have the people. The business is out there. It transcends so many different industries. So yeah, it's extremely exciting to be going into the 4th quarter. We look forward to this from the beginning of this year, when we decided as a company that we were going to pivot. we've looked forward to the fourth quarter. We've put it in writing. Now it's time to perform, and we're going to perform.
Fantastic. Well, as they say, the proof in the pudding is in the eating of it. So talk a little bit about the data that supports the quality of your UST processed nano emulsions.
So there's a couple of things I would say. First of all, there's anecdotal data, which as a scientist, we listen to it, we look at it, but we don't believe it until we've done the studies. But there's anecdotal data. We've developed this CBD, for instance. We've developed CBD nano emulsions. We've done small runs. We've made 30, 40 small bottles. I personally have given away 3 to 4 dozen to friends, to family, to investors. Not a controlled study, but everyone except 2 have come back and said, my gosh, Rick, this really works. Some are CBD users that were disenchanted with CBD. Some have never tried CBD, but giving them the material, it was a topical, spray it on the skin. Maybe it's arthritis, maybe it's a pain in the knee, maybe it's a pain in the back. Whether it's my wife or my brother and sister-in-law or my neighbors down the street or some investors, some longtime friends, we've given them this. Only 2 said I didn't feel effect, and one of them said I probably didn't do it right. I didn't rub it in once I sprayed it on, so I probably just kind of washed it off. So I'd say 1 person out of 40, let's say, did not have a positive experience using our CBD, the topical CBD. So we're very excited about that. But we also know that we need scientific data. And so we've gone out to several people in the scientific community, and we've asked them to run studies, animal studies, to determine in their independent laboratories what the bioavailability, how quickly does our material get into the system, and how long does it take to get the maximum amount into the system. These studies are ongoing. They will be published in a peer-reviewed journal. The scientists have said they will publish them. We're hoping that some of the data will be available before the end of the year, published in a peer-reviewed journal. And all I can say is we're very excited from what we've heard so far. But that's just what we've heard. But what we've heard is very exciting to us. That proof is in the pudding, as you said, and we believe we're going to have that proof in the pudding perhaps before the end of 2022.
Well, come on, Richard, send us some samples of your product here at the Emerging Growth. I'd love to try it. I believe in that form of healing for sure. So I'd love to personally.
Done deal. But look, we'll be launching the product. We're not actually vialing ourselves, as I said earlier. We're making this in bulk, and then we're shipping the bulk to our distributors, and they're going to vial it and label it and send it out. But I will make sure that you and your team there, at Emerging Growth, you've been good to me, and I'm not hoping that you have some ailments, but if you do have some aches and pains, please give it a shot. We'll get you some material.
Wonderful. I look forward to that. Let's keep talking a little bit about your IP portfolio. It's pretty impressive. So how long do your patents have left before they expire?
Good question. We have, as I mentioned early on, 30 issued patents. We do have patents, some of them that have expired over the last few years, and they may be getting close. But we're very good at reapplying, resubmitting patents, and getting up-to-date patents issued. So I would say that most of our patents in the PCT, pressure cycling technology area, which is important to us, with 350 instruments and 250 customers around the world, is very important to us. Those patents, many of them have years to go. Our BaroShear is a newer technology where we are using pressure to help companies, and we have 2 multi-billion-dollar companies that we're working with, and we have a lot of startups that are well-funded, help them get to market by using pressure to fix issues that may appear as they make the product in the lab. And those patents have many, many years to run. And in Ultra Shear, because it's such a newer technology, but we think it is by far our low-hanging fruit, and we'll put most of our efforts into it in the coming months and several years. those patents have almost their entire life to run. We've had 7 issued patents, most of them in the last year or two. We have more patents that have been submitted, so that are patent pending. And so for our area there, we're going to have years and years to go with the patents that are issued in there. We also have a lot of intellectual property working. It's like Star Trek, going to some place where people have never been before. We're doing that right now. We're going to places that even we haven't been before. Every month, every week, every day, something happens. You go, my gosh, didn't expect that. And so we are applying and patents, filing for patents in a number of areas because things happen and we go, wow, this is very important, and we'll file a patent on it. So we've got a very, very strong IP position.
Right. Peter Lawson comments, first of all, thanking you for coming on the conference again. He really enjoys hearing your updates. And his question is, according to your recent Q, top line is off a bit, but your net loss shrunk a lot, which is a good thing. So should we be concerned about the top line? And when do you think we will go cash flow positive?
Peter, thank you for the nice comment. And it is a good question. It begs the question. 2022, we've done okay on the top line. But we want investors to know that you have to give up to get. And we're a small company. Even big companies have to do the same. We're a small company. We know we're on to something very big. We believe that this company is going to change dramatically in 2023. We believe this company will be profitable by the end of 2023. We believe 2024 is going to be an astounding year. And we believe it because of UltraShear technology. It is a technology that you can take out and see immediate rewards for, whereas our other technologies take time. They're unbelievably powerful technologies, but it takes time for someone to do all the work and publish. But with UltraShear, somebody has a problem, they're developing a CBD product, and they want that to be more bioavailable. They want to do the right thing. They'll come to us. We can make it more bioavailable, and we can, starting next month in October, we can make it for them very quickly because we've done it for 5 years. We know how to do it. We know how to do it right, and we know that the data are going to support it. So when they're published later this year. So what I'd say to Peter is, and to all investors, for the amount of effort that we've put into PCT, we're not putting that in now, or Barrelfold. We're putting it into UltraShear. We will still support all of our customers in PCT and Barrelfold. We will still do a decent revenue in those areas. We're not giving up. We're just putting them on the middle burner. But we're going to make it up in spades. We believe we're going to make it up multiple times by shifting our focus into UltraShear technology. So if the top line, which has gone down a little bit in Q2 and may go down a little bit in Q3, but in Q4 we'll have UltraShear technology revenue for the first time, commercial revenue. Before it's just research revenue, and next year we'll have, we believe, a lot, as I've mentioned, millions of dollars of revenue coming from UltraShear. So bear with us, Peter, and no, I'm not asking investors to wait, a year, 2 years. I'm saying it's happening now, and you will see the change in the fourth quarter and next year when we start to bill for our UltraShear technology.
Wonderful. Gail McCarthy wants you to hash that out a little bit more regarding your revenue model. Her question is it a one-time sale? Is there a subscription model? And how many different products do you have? So
we're going to make nano-emulsified material in bulk and ship that bulk. Down the road, we might decide to get into the business of vialing and selling and distributing, but that's not what we're good at. We're good at making the best nano-emulsion of molecules in the world. We don't think anybody can touch the quality. Maybe down the road we'll start hearing of competitors, but right now we've tested so many different products and we've gone to so many different potential customers, and they've told us they're having problems with the so-called nanoemulsions, and most of them are not nanoemulsions, that we're confident that we have the best of the best right now. So we're going to put all our efforts there, and we're going to sell bulk material to multiple distributors who are going to white label it, put it in their own vials, their own label on it, and sell it throughout the U.S. So that is the plan right now. So we're talking to, but we want to talk to different groups that have different types of products. So there are groups that have topical products for the skin. There are groups that have oral products that are taken. There are groups that are big in gummies. There are groups that are big in ointments or lotions. We signed a deal with Dr. Adrienne Denese. What a superb person as an individual and a scientist. She only wants to give back. She only wants to make life better for other people by making products that work, and said to me, I don't care if it costs me more money and I'm less profitable in my products. Your nano emulsion technology will make them better. Will make her good products even better. So in this case, we have, it's not a one and done. It's an interesting question because we've modeled it as if it will take all of next year for each contract to sell out and therefore generate about $1 million of revenue for us. There is always the chance that the distributor can sell out much faster than in a year. We are expecting reorders. When the distributor makes their product, their topical product, and they sell out, they're going to come back and give us more. And so we're being very conservative by saying generate $1 million in a year. That assumes that we make, 50,000 vials, let's say, as an example. It takes all year for them to sell the 50,000 vials. Well, the next time they come back, they may order 100,000 vials, and they may not come back in a year. They may come back in 9 months or 8 months or 6 months. So we've been very conservative, which is the best way to go. I'd rather, when I hold my conference calls, Anna, as every company should, after our numbers, whether they're good or bad, we hold our conference call. I'd rather explain why we did better than why we did not as good as I said. So I think we've been very conservative, but we're extremely excited because we know we have a material that works.
Great answer. Jeffrey Scott asks for you to talk about the capital structure and what factors should be addressed pertaining to any restructuring.
So I've run into a lot of problems with bankers and some investors because we want to go back to the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. We want to go back. We were on NASDAQ before, 10 years ago. We got delisted because our stock price fell below $1. We as a company do not want to do a reverse stock split, and we don't want to raise money below market because we have an anti-dilution clause. So looking out for shareholders, what we want to do is grow the company organically. And I believe in my 50 years of running a business, 40 years running public companies, I believe that we have a good chance next year of generating enough interest in the company, enough revenue, getting to profitability. All of these things can happen in 2023 that we don't want to do a reverse. We don't want to do a below market deal. And so we believe that the best way to do it is to grow organically. We've spent millions of dollars, maybe $10-12 million, and 6 years of our lives developing this most powerful technology to generate what we believe the best nano emulsions in the world of any type of oil-based active ingredient. Let's give it a shot. We have contracts in hand. We have anecdotal data that says 95% of people say, how do I buy this? This works. We have academic data coming that we believe is going to prove how good this product is, this process is. So Jeff and others, our goal is to continue to live on the edge. We don't like it, live on the edge, because we have the answer, and it's rolled out. We're being rolled out in just a few days in October. And we believe that this is going to change this company. We believe that this is going to get investors back into this company. We believe it's going to get confidence from investors back into this company. So our goal right now is not to recapitalize, not to do anything like I mentioned. Our goal is to let the product stand for itself. It will generate the cash that we need. That's what we believe.
Great. Another great answer. Joseph Caseota says your apparatus apparently lengthens the shelf life of the product by decreasing waste of the core product, and due to increased bioavailability, getting bigger bang for the buck due to the effectiveness of the product to the user and profit for the producer. So what is the name of this? I'm assuming the apparatus.
It's called the Baro Shear, B-A-R-O, stands for pressure. Shear, because it's ultra shear technology. So we basically bring, or we take the oil that contains the active ingredient, could be a vitamin, could be a nutraceutical, could be a pharmaceutical. We mix it with water. I'm going to simplify it. We put it into the machine. It goes to very high pressure, pressures that nobody else can go to. Pressures around 45,000, and we're going to be going up to 60,000 PSI. We have data which says the higher the pressure, the better the quality of the nano emulsion, and we're experts in pressure. We get to this pressure, we release it at this pressure, and Anna, it comes out of that pressure tank at supersonic speed and goes through our patented valve that as it goes through the valve, the oil and water shears. The energy gets, it gets energized to shear the material so that the globs of oil become tiny, tiny little oil droplets. And so what the question said is true, that because it becomes more bioavailable, there's an opportunity for the manufacturer to use less to get more. There's also an opportunity for the distributor or the manufacturer to reduce the price or to give more for the price. So it has a lot of advantages. But imagine taking anything. I take Excedrin for headaches. I take 250 milligram. And if I didn't get 250 milligram of the active ingredient, my headache would not go away. I take 3, and I need to take 3. If I only got 10, 20% of the active ingredient, I'd have to take 20. So this is what's happening with non-nano emulsified products, that we're not getting the benefit of all of that amazing product that's in the oil. Nano emulsification opens it up and allows you to do that, allows the body to absorb it before we excrete the oil and get far more bioavailable active ingredient. So we have all of these benefits, such as getting more for less, or being able to even use less and reduce the price, and having the benefits of the long-term stability of the water, effective water solubility, and the higher bioavailability, all from a true nano emulsion. We're just a bunch of geeks. We're a bunch of scientists and engineers. We're not cannabis people. We're not supplement people. We're scientists. We're engineers. And we developed an instrument primarily for working with cells and DNA. And my exquisitely smart guys that run Dr. Tang and Dr. Lazarus said, wait a minute, this might work in the food and the supplement industry. And in fact, it does. So what we made for DNA, which would have taken zillions of dollars and years to get there, we pivoted and we turned it into a machine that now can be used to make true nano emulsions. It's just so exciting for it. It's been a tough road to hoe for us, all of us here at Pressure Bio, because we have great technology, but it's not something that gets used very quickly until ultra shear. This is great technology that can immediately be commercialized and generate a lot of revenue for the company and give our shareholders what they deserve.
Fantastic. Thank you for this great presentation. And please come back in a few weeks and give us some of these updates. I know October is going to be an exciting month for you and your team, and send us some of your products so we can have that.
We will do
discussion
that.
About how it helps any ailments we might have on our side. We all have them. So, Richard, great presentation. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
All right. Good luck. We'll see you again soon.
You sure will.
Okay, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. We are just beginning. So join us in just a short time and we'll come back with our next presenter. We'll see you soon.